You are about to enter Chuck versus the podcast, the place for people who love Chuck and the people who work on Chuck. The only show that takes you behind the scenes with the stars.
Yvonne,
Zachary Levi, Joshua Gomez,
Ryan McParland,
Adam Balba,
Sarah Lancaster,
Interactive interviews.
Julia Wing,
Phil Clemmer,
All the cast.
Dixon High, Tony Hale, Scott Krinsky, Mark Christopher Lawrence,
Anita Federici,
Fun hosts.
This is Mel. This is Liz. Now you can see how wacko we are.
The writers.
Ali Adler, Scott Rosenbaum, Zev Barrow,
The editors.
Matt Barber, Jeff Granville, Kevin Mock,
Contests.
We are giving away a Chuck press kit.
The directors.
Jason Ensley, Norman Buckley,
The guest stars.
Steve Austin,
Kristen Group,
The music.
This is Tim Jones.
Guest hosts.
I'm Kaylee from Toronto.
Conventions.
Lights come up, and here comes Jester out on stage.
Set visits.
This is the guy right here.
And much more. Are you ready? This is Gray.
This is Mel.
This is Liz.
And we want to welcome you to Chuck versus the Podcast, episode 65 for Friday, August 20th, 2010. The new season of Chuck is just a few weeks away, and we've got some news and spoilers to share.
We're going to start out with some congratulations to Yvonne and Zach, who each won Teen Choice Awards in the TV action category. Their awards weren't televised, so people have been looking for that video, and it doesn't exist. However, they did present during the broadcast, which aired on Fox, and it was pretty cute. You can watch the video at chucktv.net under the videos tab. And meanwhile, Zach is up for an EWE, which is Entertainment Weekly's version of the Emmys, for a second year in a row, and he won last year. Let's see if we can make it a double. You can go to EW.com and vote for Zach in the EWEs.
Mm-hmm.
And congratulations are also in order for Bonita Frederici. Our favorite general has been promoted to series regular for season 4. We also hear that she'll be out from behind the desk more in this season. So I'll be interested to see if we see that little pink satin robe on her again.
And the clapper.
That's right.
Oh, she's great. Good for her. And definitely go back and listen to her interview if you haven't already. She's just a sweetie. But Zachary Levi has signed on to voice one of the characters in Fallout New Vegas. Zach voices Arcade, a member of the Followers of the Apocalypse, and he hides a mysterious past. He's described as quiet, analytical, and cautious. Joining Zach in voicing characters in this game, a killer cast, honestly. Mr. Las Vegas himself, Wayne Newton, plus Matthew Perry, Felicia Day, and wouldn't she be a perfect Greta on Chuck? She's got like 1 billion followers on Twitter. I don't know. Amazing. Her and Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton's got about 1.7 million followers. Anyway, enough about that. Danny Trejo, Ron Perlman, Chris Christopherson, John Dolman, Rene Auberjonois. He was on Deep Space Nine.
Odo.
Yeah, and Michael Dorn from Next Generation, and William Sadler. I mean, this cast is just genre crazy. Anyway, Fallout New Vegas will be available October 19th. If you're a video game fan, it looks like it's just a smorgasbord of cool guys.
Very cool. I'm tempted to get it myself, and I'm not a video gamer in the least. But
Yeah.
I mean, Rene Auberjonois, Michael Dorn, and William Sadler all were on DS9. My favorite Star Trek ever. I may just have to play that one. Plus Zach. I mean, we like Zach too.
Oh yeah, him too.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a bunch of photos posted in the chucktv.net gallery, including the cast at the Television Critics Association Fall Press Tour. Zach and Yvonne at the Teen Choice Awards, and Yvonne, Vixahai, and Scott Krinsky at the Do Something Awards. So you got to go over there and check those out.
Very cool.
Zach also appears in a new web series written and directed by his friend Joel David Moore called Byron Phillips, Found. So the idea of the show is Byron has lost his soul. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. Literally lost his soul. After a near-death experience, he watches it walk away from his body. Byron is left searching, finally finding it in the most peculiar of places, following the girl who saved his life. The problem is his soul seems happier with her. Can he get it back? Watch on chucktv.net or funnyordie.com.
Yeah.
Really interesting concept.
Yeah, he's a really, really funny guy. I haven't checked out the series yet, and I definitely want to. He's got a really dark, quirky sense of humor, but it's really funny if you like that kind of humor.
Exactly. This is not a laugh out loud series. At least the parts that I've seen so far aren't like, you're not going to get belly laughs, but dark and quirky. I think that's good. And Zach is really good in it too. Yeah, very good in it.
Yeah. So our next item is a little bit more in depth. Cue news music. I happened to get an email from Chuck writer Lauren LaFranc the other day, and she was kind enough to give me the scoop on all the changes in the Chuck writers' room. And I know a number of us had been talking about the changes when Chuck was renewed. Of course, we knew of a few ones like Ali Adler going to No Ordinary Family. We knew about Phil Klemmer going to Undercovers. We knew about Matt Miller going to Human Target. And we have been wondering through the whole summer who the new writers were going to be. And so we know. First of all, just to give you a picture of the people who are still in the writers' room from last year, Josh Schwartz and Chris Fedak, of course, the creators of the show, and then Rafe Judkins and Lauren LaFranc are there from last year. That's it for writers who were there last year. Now, we love Rafe and Lauren. We love Josh and Chris. And new writers, guess who's coming to the table? First of all, Nicholas Wooten, a veteran of cop shows like Law & Order, Dark Blue, and NYPD Blue. Wooten has also written a few episodes of Prison Break, and get this, he won an Emmy for an episode of NYPD Blue. Will he be bringing some of that gritty drama to Chuck? We know that there's definitely a place for that. Kristen Newman, although she hasn't had a credit for a couple of years, she's responsible for one of the funniest episodes of How I Met Your Mother, Ted Mosby Architect, and she also wrote 24 episodes of that 70s show. I definitely see her talents being needed on Chuck. Craig De Gregorio, with a strong background in comedic writing, De Gregorio's most recent credits include Reaper and State of the Union. Sounds like he knows how to bring geek and topical humor to the proceedings. And Henry Alonzo Myers. Myers has finished work on Ugly Betty, a favorite of Mel and Liz's. I never watched that show, but I hear it's funny, if it's your thing. And his other credits include CSI, the original one, and Charmed. So that, honestly, a lot of people have been concerned about, with Ali Adler leaving, what that was going to mean for the female characters, and I think he has proven himself with female characters. So that's honestly, if you look at all of those, they have really complementing talents, and definitely it's a very deep pool to choose from. So when you add that to Rafe and Lauren, and then Josh and Chris, I think we're in for a really good season of Chuck. Obviously, it's going to be different, but then again, every season does have a different focus, and with Pursuing Mama Bartowski, it's going to be in different stories. So this is really cool. Now, you notice there are a couple of names, if you've been following the writers, that are still missing. One of them is Max Denby. He actually was a writer's assistant for most of his time on Chuck, and he just wrote a couple of episodes, and he's no longer with Chuck. I think he actually got a kind of a promotion, a better opportunity on another show. And then also Zev Burrow. Now, this actually brings me to something, and that's that you may have heard that I started a new podcast, the TV Writer Podcast, and I'm very pleased to announce that it's partnered with Script Magazine, one of the top screenwriting magazines. Very, very pleased about that. And I was speaking to Matt Miller on the inaugural episode of the podcast, and he told me that in addition to having composer Tim Jones do double duty now, he's asked him to compose the music for Human Target. He's also asked Zev Burrow to come and write for him at Human Target. So now, to be fair, again, Zev Burrow was really occupied a lot of the time on the Chuck comic book, and so he didn't actually pen many of the episodes of Chuck. So definitely the people who wrote the most scripts that left are definitely the ones that you already knew: Ali Adler, Phil Klemmer, and Matt Miller. So so those are the changes in the writer's room. Before I mention just a little bit more about the TV Writer Podcast, how do you guys feel about all these changes?
I'm excited. It looks like both several writers that don't have a lot in common, and yet they do, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can kind of meld really well into what Chuck is, which is so difficult to quantify, the drama and the action and the humor and the romance. And I think what we have here is someone who's good with drama and someone who's good with romance and someone who's good with comedy and someone who's good with action.
Yeah.
And they're all going to be in the same room. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, definitely. I think, obviously we've got to wait to see how it plays out, but I have full confidence in this group. It's a very rich group. It's not a green group. There is new blood in Rafe and Lauren who've proven themselves, but this is a group who's been around and really proven themselves in a number of areas. So really, really excited about it. And also, as I mentioned, I do invite you to check out tvwriterpodcast.com. If you look at the site, there's quite a bit there, and also it tells you about the partnership with Script Magazine. It tells you about why I wanted to start that podcast. And also, if you listen to the first episode features Matt Miller, and it tells you not only about Human Target and his plans for that show, which now that we know that Zev Burrow is also on that show, you can see that for Chuck fans, I think there's some promise there. If you want to try that show out, I urge you to. But there's also some more details on that first podcast about all that it has to offer. So please check it out. And if you have the chance to tweet about it or Facebook about it, I'd really, really appreciate it. It'd be a great favor to me.
We're so proud of you, Gray, getting that
I
up and
know.
going. He's been talking about doing this for about a year now, right, Liz?
Yeah, I think so. Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Well, and it's finally had the opportunity to get it started. And the cool thing is that I've gotten a number of contacts through Script Magazine. Also, Mel and Liz have been helping out, and there's going to be some really, really cool shows on the podcast. So unlike Chuck, where we only talk about one show, if you follow No Ordinary Family or White Collar or Eureka or a number of other shows like The Mentalist, you're going to get the chance to hear writers from all these other different shows. So lots of cool stuff is going to come.
it's so exciting.
Yep.
I know. I can't wait to see it all start to bloom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back on the set of Chuck, Zach streamed some video from there last week, and it's under Twitvid. I don't know. There's so many new words coming out of Twitter. I can't keep up. Anyway, they were working on episode 403, and there aren't any spoilers. I mean, there's some minor spoilers in there, but I think even Greg can handle these. They're not too bad. We've got the links to those posted under the video section on chucktv.net. So you got to go check those out and just see a little more what goes into filming the show.
Mm-hmm. And that is Norm Buckley's episode. Glad to have Norm back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, Norm.
Norm.
I was going to say that.
NBC is airing their annual primetime preview at NBC.com with a short segment on Chuck to lead off the special. Most of the scenes are from season 3, but there's a couple of seconds of brand new footage involving Chuck, Sarah, and Casey. So be sure to visit NBC.com to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck's got a new haircut.
Yeah. And we're going to move on to our listener emails. We've gotten a whole bunch over. We've had a little bit of a hiatus, and we're just going to share a few of them today. And we do encourage you to be sending in your emails, especially as we start having more frequent podcasts again. We love talking about what you love to talk about.
Yeah. Well, our first email comes from Lou, a.k.a. Old Darth. We all know him.
Mm-hmm.
A Friday 5 we did a couple of weeks ago was the idea that Greta is an acronym. And so I posited 5 possible things that Greta could mean. And then other fans chimed in, and Lou sent us his. We thought they were pretty amusing. He says, Greta could mean government, retail, environment, training, and assessment. And Chuck and Morgan are the assessors. Or it could be government, retail, environment, training, assignment, or government retail environment tactical agent. There's all kinds of really good ideas for what Greta could mean. You can find those under the Friday 5 section at checktv.net. And, Greta may just be an actual name, but at Comic-Con, when I was talking with Josh and Chris, I asked them, is it an acronym? And they're like, ooh, I don't know. Maybe it could be. So yeah, maybe it will be.
I like tactical agent. I government retail environment tactical agent. I think that's a good one.
That could be totally legitimate. There's a lot of really hilarious ones that are posited on the website. So.
I can just imagine. Yeah. I'm not good
Lou.
at acronyms.
Yeah. Thanks, Lou. And Lou actually was on a trivia challenge with me. And if you can watch on Twitter, we're not allowed to post about it yet, but I'll post about the details of that trivia challenge. We were competing against another podcast, and you'll see how we did.
I hope you did good. I hope you did us proud, Gray.
Yeah, you'll see.
Well, Samantha writes in. She says, hey, guys, I'm Sam from Oakville, and I just wanted to say that I'm a big fan of your podcast and have been watching it ever since the Toronto Star did an article about it in the entertainment section. So thanks, Sam. I'm just emailing to respond about the news you gave in podcast number 63 about Nicole Richie and Steve Austin coming back in an episode. You said that you weren't sure how the two would tie in together in a storyline together. Well, I had an epiphany. Storyline could be the sort of thing where all the old enemies come back out of the woodwork. I think that this might be a possible scenario because being under constant attack, or at least more than usual, might force Chuck and Sarah to resolve whatever fight they are having in that episode. Just thought I would share my theory and get your take on it. Keep up with the great podcasting, and I can't wait for Chuck season 4. You can't either, Sam. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Possibility. I like the idea.
Yeah, without getting into spoilers, as far as I know, in that episode, and this is just a general thing, and I think it was talked about at Comic-Con-ish and the press room and stuff. I think in that episode, the only people who are coming back from the past are those two.
Yes, that is true. There's other new characters that we'll see in that episode, but that would be a really neat story, though, wouldn't it? Have all the bad guys converge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be tough scheduling wise to get them, but we'll see.
Good idea, Sam.
Yeah. And I do want to mention, I know a lot of people from Oakville, so welcome to Oakville is just kind of just outside of Toronto. And it's great I was actually very curious to see if people who read that article were going to start checking out the podcast. So I guess people did. Very, very cool. Yep. And another Canadian from Gerald. Gerald writes, I love the show, Chuck. Nice, funny, and light show, which is so different from all the CSI type shows on TV. It's obvious the writers want to keep Chuck and Sarah apart because they need the drama to continue to keep us tuning in. We remember when Superman and Lois got together, ratings dropped. I'm assuming you're talking about Lois and Clark. But also so did the writing. I totally agree. The real challenge would be to get them together and write good stories. Here's the question. Do you believe Chuck and Sarah will get together? And in the final show, do you think they will? My guess is they will run off together when they try and kill Chuck again, like they almost did at the end of the final season. What do you think? Gerald from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. P.S. I love Kristen Kruk, and if she stayed and was Chuck's love, I'd be okay with that too. So thanks for writing, Gerald. And I'm just guessing that you haven't caught up with the end of season 3 yet, because Chuck and Sarah actually did get together and were quite nice together. And also it came out in the Comic-Con panel that the writers have learned their lesson and are not going to, at least for the next little while, put anybody between Chuck and Sarah. That's not to say that they're not going to have their bumps like every relationship has, but there's not going to be love triangles for the next little while. And as for the end of the show, I mean, my dream ending is that they actually get married and are going off into the sunset, and in the sunset you see them have encounter a new spy challenge. But what do you guys think?
Well, I don't know about seeing them get married and go off into the sunset, but getting married and being kind of, I don't know what I'm thinking of, a married spy, like Mr. and Mrs. Jones type thing would be cool. It would be fun. There's certainly plenty of stories to tell, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I think they could go the heart-to-heart route.
Yeah.
Sure.
With spies instead of detectives. It's not that big of a leap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. But yeah, they are definitely together and very, very happy about it.
Mm-hmm. And so are the fans.
Yes.
And so are we.
Yeah. So that's it for our listener emails, and we'd love to talk about our sponsors.
That's right. We've got a new sponsor, ielabs.com. They're the makers of award-winning Action Blue AVCHD conversion software to author full HD videos on regular DVD discs. It even works with HD clips from the newest iPhone 4. You can get your free trial at ielabs.com. You ought to go check that out if you're into making vids, and we know a lot of you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's ielabs.com. And we also want to thank moviemorons.com for their support. They are the podcast for anything and everything to do with film. If you are at all inclined to go to your local Cineplex, you got to check out moviemorons.com.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, SyrianJunkies.de. It's the largest television fan site in Germany, and they've got a really cool podcast of their own. You got to check that out, SyrianJunkies.de.
Hello, this is Christina Caramel from Serienjunkies TV. Are you addicted to TV shows? Be our guests and learn the latest news and reflections on what's going on in the world of TV series. Well, our show is in German, but maybe you want to drop in anyway? Then visit www.serienjunkies.de and watch out for our video podcast. See you.
And so we want to thank you for joining us. I'm very happy to be back. We're going to move into our spoilers soon. And actually, we had so many spoilers that we had to hold back a few that we're going to talk about in our next podcast. So if you like spoilers, we actually have some good ones coming. But I want to remind you that you can check out the podcast on chuckpodcast.blip.tv. And if you view it in a web browser, even on a handheld device, that helps us by giving us a little bit of advertising revenue rather than watching in iTunes. You can always watch in iTunes. There is an audio-only version that you can get in iTunes if you are driving and want to be safe. But there are many ways you can access the podcast, and you can find out more at chuckpodcast.com.
And please send your comments and your emails to mail@chuckpodcast.com.
Mm-hmm. So now we're going to move on to the spoilers. And as always, if you don't want to hear spoilers, there's one way you can do it. Just pull your headphones out of your ears, or you can press pause on the podcast, or you can turn it off in your iTunes and on your computer. Otherwise, if you want to hear spoilers, listen on. Otherwise, see you next time.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
And we're back. What have you got for us, Mel?
Well, we've got Stacy Keebler playing Greta in episode 403, Czech versus the Cubic Z. And there's a title that all of the women are going, uh-oh, somebody's going to be in the doghouse. Cubic Z, of course, referring to cubic zirconia, which is a fake diamond. Stacy will take on the role after Olivia Munn and Isaiah Mustafa, joining the ranks of Greta of the Week in the reimagined Buy More this season. She also revealed that she'll be in the same episode that sees the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Nicole Richie. And that episode will air in October, as will our interview with the lovely Stacy Keebler. So stay tuned for that.
Very cool.
Bruce wants to know from Matt Midovich at Fancast, got any Chuck scoop? Matt says, I share with a heavy sigh, Bruce. Sarah's orange uniform appears to be a goner. I don't know if Sarah's going to have a cover this season now that everyone knows that she's a spy. That's what Yvonne says. But there isn't any need for it now. So we'll see what happens. Bye-bye, orange outfit.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us are going to be sad to see that go. I know Little Chuck fan looked really cute in her orange outfit.
She did.
Yeah. Well, Kristen, our favorite Kristen from E! Online, if on Chuck, the Buy More is now being run by the CIA, what does that mean for Big Mike and the Nerd Herders? Are they off the show? This question is from Stu. And Kristen writes, Big Mike is still on hand, though oblivious to his new bosses, Mark Christopher Lawrence tells me. Lester and Jeff, meanwhile, are on the lam, getting a taste of freedom and fear, says Vic Sahai. Who knows what that kind of new feral quality that will bring if and when we reunite with the gang. So Jester's on some sort of excellent adventure. I don't know about excellent, Vic laughs. More like torturous, weird, awkward, and off-putting. So nice tidbits from Kristen. By the way, speaking about Kristen, did it get down to the final group?
It did. She's not. Yes. What Gray is referring to is Kristen's big spoiler about a couple getting engaged this season out of the blue, no one expecting it, and then planning a wedding. And some of the clues are that, well, there were 12 couples to start with from 12 different shows. And she said that it's a couple that almost everyone is in the fandom is happy about, that they're together, but not everyone. So, I mean, to us, that immediately said it's not Chuck and Sarah. However, she's whittled it down, and there are now 3 couples remaining that are possibilities. Oh, and Chuck and Sarah are still in the mix. You know why? Traffic.
Yeah.
Website traffic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the other 2 couples are from Grey's Anatomy and Glee, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we already know that the couple from Grey's Anatomy are getting married, I think, or engaged or something. So I don't know if she's got the same spoiler that Ozzialo posted a couple of weeks ago, or if she's got something new, but I don't know. It could be Chuck and Sarah. Who knows? Maybe they're getting engaged.
Yeah. Yeah, could be.
We'll see.
That'd be interesting. I mean, certainly towards the end of the season, leading towards the next one.
Mm-hmm. Planning a wedding in between spy missions.
Yeah. Though I have to admit, the description about not everybody being happy about the couple would seem to imply Glee.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. Cool. Well, like I said, there's more spoilers on the next podcast, so it gives you a reason to tune on in. Watch for us very soon. And until then, bye-bye.
See you later, Chucksters.
Bye.